Oh, hi! I was just taking a few minutes to gaze at the night sky in the Cerritos library. Have you ever taken the time to look up at the stars? What do you see? That's right, the stars make up constellations. That is what we will be learning about in this Universe of Learning virtual program. Now, the book we will be referencing is titled Exploring Constellations by Sarah L. Lata. What are constellations? Look up on a clear night far from the lights of the city. What can you see? The moon, many stars, and maybe even a planet. Some of the stars look like bright diamonds. Others glow faintly. You might look for groups of stars to form patterns. These groups of stars that appear to form pictures are constellations. The word constellation comes from the Latin word constellato. It means set of stars. Thousands of years ago, stargazers around the world did the same. They saw clusters of stars that formed patterns. They thought they looked like animals or people and told stories about the pictures they saw. Some constellations mark the passing of time between planting and harvesting. While most of the constellations' names we know are from ancient Middle Eastern, Greek, or Roman cultures, these were not the only cultures making pictures and stories with those same stars. The stars also played an important role in Native American, Asian, and African cultures. The ancient Greek astronomer Ptolemy named 48 constellations. Today, there are 88 constellations. Together, they fill the night sky. Not all stars are part of a constellation. Only the small fraction of the stars that can be seen easily with the unaided eye are part of the constellations. Every star in the sky falls within the boundaries of one of the 88 constellation regions. Astronomers are able to use telescopes to view stars that are in the dark areas surrounding the constellations. These stars are further away or fainter and cannot be seen unaided. Today, stars are named by their coordinates on the celestial sphere. This is an imaginary sphere surrounding the Earth. The northern and southern poles extend into space to this sphere, marking the north and south celestial poles. Polaris, commonly called the North Star, marks the intersection of the extended North Pole and sphere. Earth's equator extends into space and intersects the sphere at the celestial equator, dividing it into northern and southern hemispheres. All objects in space, including constellations, can be mapped this way to determine their latitude and longitude. Stars are giant balls of hot gas. They make energy. We see that energy as light. Stars come in different sizes, temperatures, and colors. Our sun is a yellow, medium-sized star. Stars that are larger than the sun are blue and very hot. Stars that are smaller can be red and less hot. Some stars look close together in the night sky. In reality, they are very far apart and vary in distance from the Earth. One of the most familiar constellations is Orion. It is named after a hunter in Greek mythology. The 3 stars that form its belt are easy to find. The 2 brightest stars in Orion are 400 light years apart. Some look bright because they are closer to Earth. Others look bright because they are very large stars. But the naked eye can't tell the difference. The Earth turns on its axis each day. This makes constellations appear to move across the sky from east to west each night. Earth makes a complete journey around the sun in 1 year. We see different constellations in each hemisphere with each season. Some constellations appear close to Earth's poles. These are circumpolar constellations. People living in the southern hemisphere can see constellations near the South Pole all year, and those living in the northern hemisphere can see constellations near the North Pole year-round. Those living near the equator are the lucky ones. They can see all of the constellations in the sky throughout the year. The constellations may seem high or low in the sky, depending on the season, but they are always there. There are many constellations visible in the northern hemisphere year-round. The most famous in the north sky is Ursa Major, also called the Great Bear. Its 7 brightest stars form a feature known as the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is not a constellation. It is an asterism. An asterism is a prominent pattern or group of stars, typically having a popular name, and is smaller than a constellation. Many cultures have told stories about Ursa Major. The ancient Romans said that it was a beautiful woman named Callisto. They said that a jealous goddess changed Callisto into a bear. The tail of Ursa Minor, also called Little Bear, curves toward Ursa Major. The tail looks like a smaller version of the Big Dipper. People refer to it as the Little Dipper. The North Star Polaris is at the very tip of its long tail. Roman legend says the Ursa Minor is Callisto's son, who was also turned into a bear. Other northern circumpolar constellations include Cassiopeia and Draco. Cassiopeia is shaped like a W or an M depending on the time of year. Draco represents a dragon that was killed by the Greek warrior Hercules. Draco's body curls like a snake across the sky. It lies between Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. Circumpolar constellations in the southern sky include Crux, the smallest of the 88 constellations. It points the way to the South Pole. It can help you figure out which way is south. The 4 brightest stars form the Southern Cross. They look like a kite. Centaurus represents the centaur. In Greek mythology, a centaur is half man, half horse. He holds a spear that he is using to kill a wolf. It contains the 3rd brightest star in the sky, Alpha Centauri. Some constellations can only be seen during certain times of the year. These are seasonal constellations. Orion, a great hunter in Greek mythology, can be seen during December, January, and February. Orion has 3 bright stars that make up his belt that make it easy to find it in the night sky. Follow the belt of Orion down and to the left, and you'll find Sirius, a blue-white star and the brightest star in the night sky. Sirius is part of the constellation Canis Major, one of the Orion hunter dogs. The stars make a shape of a dog standing on its hind legs. Above Orion lies the large constellation Taurus, the bull. To the ancient Greeks, he represented the god Zeus in disguise. Just past Orion's raised arm is the constellation Gemini, known as the twins. Greek mythology says the twins were on an expedition in search of a golden fleece. The brightest stars in Gemini mark the heads of the twins, Pollux and Castor. They make it easier to find Gemini in the night sky. During March, April, and May, Ursa Major is visible in the north. You can follow the handle of the Big Dipper to Arcturus, the 4th brightest star in the sky. It is part of the Boötes constellation, also called the herdsman. Some say he is guiding a plow, the Big Dipper. Others say he is driving Ursa Major, the Great Bear, around the North Pole. Spica, a pair of massive white stars, anchors the constellation Virgo, or Maiden. It represents the Greek goddess of justice. She is also called the goddess of the harvest. In the northern hemisphere, she appears each spring during planting and growing season. The constellation Cancer can also be seen near the constellation Gemini during this time. Cancer is a faint constellation that represents a crab sent by the goddess Hera to bite Hercules. It contains the Beehive cluster with more than 1,000 stars. It is the nearest star cluster to Earth. Adjacent to Cancer is the head of Hydra, the water snake. It is the longest constellation in the sky. Hydra was a monster killed by the Greek hero Hercules. During this time, the constellation Leo can also be seen in the northern hemisphere, south of the Ursa Major, the Great Bear. It is said to look like a lion at rest. Ancient people call its brightest star the King Star because lions are referred to as the king of the beasts. It is actually a system of 4 stars with 2 sets of binary stars circling each other called Regulus. Constellations that appear in June, July, and August include Cygnus, the swan that flies south through the Milky Way. Deneb, a blue-white supergiant star, marks its tail. A set of double stars named Alberio marks its head. The constellation Hercules, son of the Greek god Zeus, is also visible during this time. A group of 4 stars from a trapezoid called a keystone to make his body. Once you find the keystone, it is easy to find the Hercules star cluster. The cluster contains some of the oldest stars in the galaxy. Scorpius, the scorpion, lies opposite of Orion. It is located near the center of the Milky Way. Scorpius is said to have stung Orion to death before being crushed. The star Antares, a red supergiant at the end of its life cycle, glows orange in the night sky and is one of the largest stars known. It is the heart of Scorpius. Sagittarius is another centaur. He points a bow and arrow straight at Scorpius. Inside Sagittarius is the Asterism teapot. Rising from the spout of teapot is a cloud of steam. The steam is the Milky Way. Libra is another constellation that can be seen during the summer months. Its name means the weighing scales. It stands for the scales of justice held by the goddess in Virgo. It is the only constellation that does not represent an animal or person. During September, October, and November, the great winged horse, Pegasus, flies upside down in the northern night sky. Pegasus's body is formed by 4 stars referred to as the Great Square. The rest of the constellation shows the horse's front leg, neck, and head. The brightest star of the Pegasus Great Square, Alpheratz, marks the head of the princess Andromeda. Beside the Andromeda constellation is M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. At 2.5 million light-years away, it is the furthest object in the night sky that can be seen with the unaided eye. Using a small telescope, or binoculars, allows us to view its clear edges. Looking south and east of Pegasus' Great Square, you find Pisces, the fish. According to Greek myth, the 2 fish that appear tied together represent Aphrodite and Eros, who transformed themselves to escape a monster. Also, near the Great Square within Pegasus is Aquarius, the water carrier. It lies between the constellations of Pegasus and Capricornus. West of Aquarius lies the constellation Capricornus, the sea goat. This half-goat, half-fish creature dates back to the time of the Sumerians and Babylonians. Sky watchers from other cultures told stories about the sky too. The Southern Cross is an important constellation to many people. One tribe from Australia saw the Southern Cross as the head of a great Imu. In Peru, the ancient Incans called the constellation the Stare. Natives in New Zealand called it the Anchor. The early Hawaiians were skilled sailors. They used the movements of the stars to steer their boats thousands of miles in the open ocean. One of their star stories was about the hero Maui. Maui made a magical fish hook to haul the Hawaiian Islands up and out of the ocean. Many native tribes from North America had their own stories about pictures in the sky. The Pawnee Indians called a ring of stars the Council of Chiefs. The ancient Chinese created their own zodiac. It was divided into 4 sections. Each section was linked to the seasons. The blue dragon of the east was spring. The red bird of the south was summer. The white tiger of the west was autumn. The black turtle of the north was winter. We still use constellations today. They provide a roadmap to the sky. Astronomers use constellations to name stars. A scientist might talk about studying the star Alpha Tau. Alpha is the first letter in the Greek alphabet, and Tau is the 19th letter. This tells us it is the brightest star in the constellation Taurus. Now remember, boys and girls, stay tuned because Miss Rochelle is going to put together a few crafts with you guys. And it's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you very, very much for watching. And the next time you are out stargazing, take some time to think about what the stars look like and try telling your own story.
Thank you for joining me. My name is Miss Rochelle, and today we'll be creating a paper circuit, star finder, and constellation viewer. Join me in the art studio and we'll get started. The materials you'll need to make a constellation viewer are scissors, foil, glue, toothpick, flashlight, toilet paper roll, and the template of the constellations you can find on the Cerritos Library Universe of Learning virtual programs page. The first step is cutting out the constellation. Now we'll take the foil and glue the constellation onto the foil. Now we'll take the toothpick and poke a hole for the stars of the constellation. Now we'll take the toilet paper roll and place glue on it so we can glue the foil onto the roll. Then we'll take the name of our constellation and glue it onto the toilet paper roll. Now that our constellation viewer is complete, you will take a flashlight and shine it through the toilet paper roll, and when you're in a dark room, you can see the constellations up on the ceiling. To make our star finder, the materials you'll need are scissors, the template of the star finder, and the directions, which can be located on the Cerritos Library Universe of Learning virtual programs page. The first step is cutting out the star finder. Once you cut it out, it will look like this. This first step is folding the paper diagonally. You're going to fold it, and also fold it the other way. Now we're going to open it back up and fold in each corner. Now we're going to flip it over and fold in each corner. Now we're going to take it and fold it. The last step is placing the fingers inside the star finder, just like this. And now the star finder is complete. The directions on how to play the game can be located on Cerritos Library Universe of Learning virtual programs page. The materials you'll need to make the light-up constellation are a pencil, coin battery, copper tape with conductive adhesive, 5 LEDs, scissors, a NASA image of the constellation template that is located on the Cerritos Library Universe of Learning virtual programs page. The items are inexpensive and can be purchased online. First, you'll need to cut out the image of the constellation, which will look like this. Then take a pencil and make a hole in each star in the constellation. Next, you flip over the paper and use copper tape to make the circuit. The copper tape needs to line up on both sides of the holes. Make sure the positive and negative leads don't touch. You'll need to fold the edge of the card so the tape touches both terminals. A binder clip is needed to hold the battery in place. Now we'll use an LED to test the connection. Now take each LED and we're going to poke them through the holes. Once the LEDs are poked through the holes, you'll bend the leads so they lie flat against the copper tape. Once you have the leads pressed down flat and they're working, you're going to take the tape and tape down the leads. Now your paper circuit is complete. Thank you for joining us on our program about the constellations. We hope you had a good time. Bye-bye.